The Galactic Council's most elite predators circled the small human female with the calculated precision of apex hunters who had never known defeat. Ambassador Zektar of the Krillian Empire flexed his razor-sharp talons, each one capable of slicing through titanium steel. Beside him, Warlord Vex-High's bio-enhanced muscles rippled beneath scales that could deflect plasma rounds. The Netherian Scion's 8 eyes tracked every micro-movement while her pheromone glands released paralyzing toxins into the arena's atmosphere. They had come from across the galaxy to witness what they assumed would be humanity's final humiliation. For cycles, these species had dominated known space through superior strength, speed, and predatory instincts. The humans, these soft, fragile creatures from the backwater planet they called Earth, had somehow talked their way into the Council with nothing but words and primitive technology. The dominance trial would settle matters once and for all. Maya Chen, 17 years old and barely reaching the shoulder of the smallest alien present, stood in the center of the crystalline arena. The rules were simple. Survive for 1 solar hour against the galaxy's most lethal hunters using only what she brought with her. No weapons, no armor, no outside assistance. She had brought a backpack. "Begin," announced the Council Arbiter, its voice echoing through the stadium where thousands of alien spectators had gathered to watch humanity's champion be torn apart. Maya didn't move. The predators began their approach, each employing their species' time-tested hunting strategies. Zektar took to the air on leathery wings, planning to strike from above. Vex-High began a stalking approach, using his natural camouflage to blend with the arena's varied terrain. The Netherian Scion split into 3 separate forms, her advanced, biology allowing for multi-directional attacks. Maya remained perfectly still, her eyes closed, breathing slowly and deliberately. 5 minutes passed. 10. 15. The crowd grew restless. The predators, initially cautious of some unknown human trickery, began to show signs of confusion. In their experience, prey either ran or fought. They didn't simply stand there like a statue. At exactly 20 minutes, Maya opened her eyes and smiled. She had been listening, not just to the sounds around her, but to the patterns. The slight vibration in the arena floor that indicated Vex-High's position despite his camouflage. The barely perceptible air currents created by Zektar's. Wing movements. The subtle chemical markers that revealed which of the Netherian's forms was the original and which were bioconstructs. Maya reached into her backpack and pulled out a rubber ball. The stadium fell silent. With a casual underhand toss, she bounced the ball off the arena wall. It ricocheted at precisely the angle needed to strike a concealed sensor panel that controlled the arena's artificial gravity. The field fluctuated for just a moment, long enough to send the aerial Zektar tumbling into an uncontrolled spiral. As he crashed to the ground, Maya was already moving. She sprinted not away from her hunters, but toward them, pulling items from her backpack as she ran. A handful of iron filings scattered in Vex-High's path. Harmless to most species, but the Krillian's copper-based blood chemistry made iron a potent neurotoxin. He collapsed within seconds. The Netherian Scion hissed and converged her 3 forms for a coordinated strike. But Maya had already calculated this response. She pulled out a small mirror and angled it to catch the arena's artificial sunlight, directing the beam into the Netherian's primary optical cluster. The creature's advanced vision, adapted for low-light conditions, couldn't compensate fast enough for the sudden brightness. Blinded and disoriented, the Scion stumbled into the Arena's energy barrier and was automatically disqualified. 3 of the galaxy's most feared predators, defeated in under 4 minutes. But Maya wasn't finished. She turned to address the stunned crowd, her voice carrying clearly in the sudden silence. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? It's not our strength or our speed or our natural weapons. It's that we're the only species that hunts persistent prey and pack predators with equal success. She gestured to the fallen hunters. Zektar relies on aerial superiority, but humans learned to bring down flying prey before we invented agriculture. HFY uses ambush tactics. We've been outsmarting ambush predators since we lived in caves. The Netherian depends on overwhelming biological advantages. We're the species that domesticated wolves and rode horses into battle. Maya pulled out her final item from the backpack, a simple wooden pencil. You see tactics and tools and think that's what makes us formidable, but this, she held up the pencil, this represents something none of your species developed. We don't just adapt to our environment. We adapt our environment to us. Every challenge we face becomes a problem to solve, not just an obstacle to overcome. She walked over to the recovering Zektar and helped him to his feet, causing a collective gasp from the audience. On Earth, we have a saying, the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them your friend. We didn't come here to prove we're the strongest predators in the galaxy. We came to prove that the strongest predators don't have to be enemies. Ambassador Zektar stared at the small human who had just demonstrated tactical thinking beyond anything in Krillian military doctrine. Warlord HFY, slowly recovering from the iron poisoning, looked at Maya with something approaching respect. The Netherian scion's multiple eyes were beginning to focus again, but her expression was one of curiosity rather than rage. The trial is concluded, announced the Arbiter, though its voice carried a note of uncertainty. The human has survived. Maya shouldered her backpack and looked up at the council seats. With respect, Arbiter, survival was never the goal. Understanding was. As she walked toward the arena exit, the crowd remained silent. They had come expecting to witness the humiliation of a weak species. Instead, they had seen something unprecedented, a demonstration that intelligence, patience, and empathy could triumph over raw physical power. The Death Worlder girl had stood still for 20 minutes, observed everything, understood everyone, and then changed the galaxy's perspective on what it truly meant to be Apex. Behind her, 3 of the universe's most dangerous predators followed, no longer as hunters, but as the first members of an alliance that would reshape the stars themselves.